Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, the lovely loser Leroy, and this is my co-host, the master of everything gay and slightly smelly, Stuart. And we are the PlebHeads.
What the fuck?
I told you I had something good prepared. I thought of that one like 5 minutes ago, and I'm like, yeah, I'm saying this.
Oh, God.
Episode 2, we made it. We finally got the first one out. I'm sorry I took ages on those avatars. I really should have done that sooner. It was all my fault.
Yeah.
In my defense, we gave Stuart time to edit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay. I mean, I did take my time editing that, but I don't know. It didn't really matter.
I can't help but notice also that Twitter has 10 followers and the YouTube page only has 5 subscribers. We're starting off big here, lads.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, more than I expected.
So what was it like listening to my voice non-stop for like 6 weeks? Or however long it took you to edit?
It wasn't 6 weeks, but it was probably
4 weeks.
Combined, probably about 2. Oh, sorry, I'm choking on my drink there.
2 weeks of me constantly in your ear. Hello, Stuart. How are you doing?
You're making... You're on the assumption that most of the audio was just you talking to a future me.
That's what it is. It's like that episode of Doctor Who. Where they're trying to talk. Well, they're trying to talk to he's embedded himself onto like a bunch of different DVDs, and they're taking the piss out of DVD conspiracies.
What the fuck? I don't even remember that episode. Was that Capaldi or?
It was a David Tennant episode. It was.
Oh Christ! I should remember it then.
It was the first episode with the Weeping Angels, I think. That was a really weird episode. I've noticed like the episodes kind of got better whenever they weren't focusing on the Doctor sometimes.
I don't know. I always thought Doctor Who was strange. I haven't paid attention since he regenerated into Matt Smith.
Oh no, I got majorly into it around Matt Smith.
I don't know. I wasn't necessarily into it, but I sort of had a somewhat interest in it, and then David Tennant left, and then I just sort of lost interest because I wasn't necessarily keen on Matt Smith. Although as the years went on, I didn't watch it, but I just sort of gotten used to him as a person and an actor.
You know, he's been in like a bunch of original Netflix stuff.
Yeah, I know. He was in. I
don't know what it's called.
Isn't it called like The Crown or something?
Something like that.
He plays Philip. Is it
Prince Philip?
I think it's Philip. I'm not sure.
It suits him, that name.
Philip.
See, Doctor Who's weird because the writing quality varies so much.
Lately, it seems to have been sort of like, here's a lot of words and we'll put them in a blender, and then that's our villain for this series.
I like that idea though, like randomizing things. Like
a lot of it just seems completely. Most of it just seems completely random and strange, from what I've seen anyway.
I like the huge camp factor in it, like the way it's like, oh, here's the most nonsensical thing possible. Here's our adventure.
I would say that's probably left over from, well, actually, no, it's always been like that, really. Even from when it started in like the 60s. It's always been somewhat camp. And when it came back with Russell T Davies's, I don't know if he was the writer or just sort of like general production person, that was sort of when I'd say it probably was at its best. I think because he brought it back, but from obscurity. Because I think after they made the film, it was just sort of like, oh, Doctor Who, what's that?
It was like I found out they've had like, I think it's like 8 seasons or something on Netflix, all the like from the reboot.
Yeah, because that's the thing. They've completely resetted the series number, because it's the from Christopher Eccleston's time as the Doctor is sort of like considered like like the new sort of show.
But that's the thing. It's
still called Doctor Who.
The older ones.
Yeah, and it's still called Doctor Who.
They still reference it quite a lot. It's really odd. Like I like binge watched nearly the entire series, and I noticed there was this part where like the master's going through, oh, I'm remembering my life, and they play sound clips from like the older series, like from the 60s, but the quality's still absolute shit.
Yeah.
So there were like these quotes where it's like,
yeah, but yeah, but I can't. I think I do vaguely remember that. That might have been around the time I stopped watching, or maybe just before I stopped watching. I can't remember. But in that case, when they show old clips, are they still in the 4:3 format? Where it's got the letterbox, or is it?
It was just a sound clip. It wasn't the actual clip.
I was going to say, if they showed video, that would be strange. If it was, so it went from this 16:9 filmic format, and then suddenly it's a square with the bars each side.
Oh no!
It reminds me when HD started coming to TV in the UK, which was only in the last it's probably since about 2010 actually.
When I was a young lad.
Well, 7 years ago now. But it was sort of when HD sort of first started, and whenever there was an older program on that was in the 4:3 format, instead, because it was in HD now, it was in the 4:3 format rather than stretched like it was in standard definition. This is going very technical, but I'll be brief. And for years, I still had to explain to our parents that you can't do anything about the fact that it's square because that's how it was made. They thought something was wrong with the TV because there was just these black bars on each side. I was thinking, no, just shut up and just leave it. That annoyed me for a while, but parents, I don't know. I did luckily easily get them off Internet Explorer when they had their latest laptop. And without hesitation, I just went, just type in Chrome and download that, and that's it. And then don't bother me again.
No, but explaining technical things to parents is always a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
Like I told you, my girlfriend does all the technical stuff for me. I am not the person who sets up the PCs. I am just the person who draws the willies on the PCs. She handles all the technical stuff.
Yeah.
So whenever anyone has a problem in my house with anything, it's always, "Hey, Emily, can you come help us?"
Yeah. For me, in my house, it's me. Even though I wouldn't necessarily describe myself as a tech expert,
closest thing to tech to IT
is in my house, like I'm the closest thing to tech support they're gonna get without having to like go out and actually ask someone whose job it is probably, or someone who's professional or whatever.
Someone who knows what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I know enough. Like, I would say I know enough software wise, but not hardware. So
yeah, hardware's the big one.
I sort of know basics of hardware. I know like you might just have to turn it off and on again, and that might fix it. But software, I'm a lot better at because it's like, oh yeah, that's
restart it and cross your fingers.
Yeah, but to be fair, that does, even though it's a cliche of like IT support, that does work like 90% of the time. Really,
it does. It's quite bizarre, isn't it? Like I think like most of the time when my brother asks me like, oh, this thing's going on with my PC, I'm like, it's probably the worst thing possible to do.
Yeah,
like,
I was told
like
I was told that restart. Well, I mean, I don't know how true it is, but restart. Like holding down the power button and then turning it off that way, could damage it because there might be data that was in the middle of transferring somewhere, or it was defragging or some bullshit,
some technical
thing that it does, and then it could have slightly corrupted something, or because it was in the middle of doing it. Because technology, as good as it is fragile in some senses.
Yeah.
Like you can easily just sort of damage or corrupt a file if you're not careful. If you are careful, it's fine. But if you're slightly reckless, it could easily corrupt something.
Blow up in your face.
Yeah.
I
mean, for ages, like defragging was something that you had to do. I think really with like when PCs were mostly just that big ass screen with the big fat back and a giant tower, and it was all white. And the sort of PCs you'd have that you'd have in like school corridors,
the 19th century.
Yeah, it's like when it was like those kind of like that ran Windows 95, like that kind of, you had to defrag the disk, otherwise it would just stop working. But nowadays with like I think from like Windows Vista onwards or something, it was like done automatically in the background. You didn't have to worry about it. Like half the time I didn't even realise. And then...
I'm being defragged. Oh,
well, that's
Daddy, no.
All it means is just moving blocks of data back to where they should be, rather than it's like I get it basically, but not technically enough to explain to someone exactly what it's doing. I don't know how it works.
We go from Doctor Who to this. See,
welcome to PlebHeads.
We're the worst at this staying on topic because you branch off so much. Well, we do.
Yeah, it's not just me. Hello.
I didn't mean. I mean us. Fuck. God, I'm being bullied.
Oh.
I am now opening up applications for a new, better co-host. Oh no! Have you seen what David Tennant's been in recently?
He was in something recently that I saw, but I can't remember what it is. It's mostly been like Broadchurch or something, isn't it?
He was in the Postman Pat movie.
God, Jesus Christ!
It's fucking hilarious.
As who?
Himself.
Oh, okay, that's disappointing. I thought
villain.
he was gonna be like Scottish McPherson because he's Scottish.
Look at the trailer; it's awful.
Yeah, remind me to do that. No, I mean all I ever knew about the Postman Pat movie because for some reason Stephen Mangan was the voice and he's usually on panel shows like fucking Have I Got News for You or whatever. He just always referenced it for like a whole year surrounding the film. He was like, "Oh yeah, I play Postman Pat." Yeah,
he's proud.
It's like that's not a highlight of your career. Stop. Just stop. You're playing.
Maybe in your eyes, in his eyes, it's like the best role it's ever gotten.
Yeah, I think he was proud because like his kids liked Postman Pat or something, and it was like, "Oh, I'm doing it for them." It's like, okay.
I always find it weird when people say they're like their kids are into this shit because I swear, like Postman Pat's like from when was Postman Pat even made?
I don't know. They're like the original series probably like in the 70s or 80s or something. And then I think isn't there a new series where it's like CGI or something? No, not CGI. Well, I say CGI, but I say CGI, but people are gonna get people do get annoyed when I say that because there's so many different terms for what.
Why? What are you defining as CGI?
Well, computer-generated imagery, I think, is correct, but like I think some people just call it like, I don't know.
As the official voice of CGI animation, I can say it's a fairly acceptable term.
Yeah, I have met a couple of people who got annoyed when I said CGI sort of as a generic term when I actually meant like special effects in a film where it was live action and then there was a bit that was generated in a computer.
Well, it just computer generated imagery. It's a fairly like broad term. It fits like every occasion.
It might just be about 0.5% of people ever who just get annoyed that it isn't the specific term, but everyone else knows exactly what you mean when you say CGI. But whatever.
There are loads of terms that mean the same thing. Just anyone who gets pedantic about that shit is stupid. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
As an official computer generation animation super cool dude that I am, that knows everything obviously, I can tell you the terms all mean the same thing. Don't they?
at least to the public.
Basically, I mean, it's not like it matters. It's a pointless distinction anyway. People know roughly what you mean. Obviously, if you're in like a professional setting, maybe look up what your terminology is. But at this point, it's like doesn't really matter.
I was gonna say I think pretty much everyone knows what you mean, but I don't know. There are those people that exist that like to be very specific.
Can I cry about how common computer animation is over 2D animation now?
If you want, but is it gonna be loud?
As usual. Have you seen they're doing like I think it's like a Tangled TV series.
Oh fuck, really?
It's in 2D and everyone's complaining because they confirmed
it looks exactly like every other cartoon creator that comes out of that fucking university. What is it
CalArts?
like CalArts? Yeah, there's the CalArts style, isn't there? I think it's used on Gumball and remind me.
Gumball, Star vs. the Forces of Evil, Steven Universe.
Steven Universe, that was the one I was thinking of.
Everyone put Sans from Undertale in there for some reason.
No.
It's like
because that's pixelated.
they all have peanut heads, maybe, but you know.
Oh yeah, well, I don't know. Sans though, Sans I think is just an unfortunate coincidence.
I don't think we even know what he looks like from like the side view.
Well,
I mean, like the 3/4 view.
Well, yeah, because that's what that is, isn't it? The CalArt style, but I don't know. I would say it is strange that all these cartoons do have a very, very, very similar style.
I think, well, people call it the CalArt style, but a lot of the things they call CalArts aren't really CalArts, because I don't think the guy that made Gumball went to CalArts.
Yeah, I mean, and besides, with Gumball, it's all, not every character is the same. I think it's mostly just the main family and the, whatever his name is, the fish, the goldfish. I haven't watched Gumball in a while, actually, so I can't remember. But it's the main family and the goldfish, I think, are in that style, and everything else is either like, I think one of them is a fucking 3D dinosaur. One of the students is a fucking, and everything else is just in a style. One of them's a banana, for God's sake. It's with googly eyes. It's like, yeah, you can call Gumball maybe a CalArt style, but it is in a vaguely real world environment. Because I don't know. I did kind of watch it at first because it was like, I don't know. It looks kind of interesting because it's just this sort of weird mishmash of things in a strange world. But I don't know.
I think the CalArts era has come into an end now, anyway, because a lot of the shows that use it are ending.
Yeah, I think what's taking over, and I was actually going to mention this anyway briefly, because DuckTales is coming back, but I think there's a lot of specifically kids animation or teens animation, I don't know, that's sort of using I don't think it uses Flash necessarily, but it's kind of that sort of Flash rigged keyframe kind of animation. That's sort of slightly taking over again.
I've seen a lot of that. It's kind of bizarre.
Rather than, because a lot of the cartoons I like were always film cell based, and each frame was individually drawn or whatever. But now it mostly seems to be going towards Flash style animation.
It's because it's cheaper to redo scenes and
I mean, style. I think even with Rick and Morty, I don't know what it's made with, but I think there's still some. I think it's mixed. I think some of it is rigged, but some of it is like drawn frame by frame. I can't be sure.
I think most of it is rigged, and the rest of it is CGI'd.
I don't know. I don't know if there is any. Well, there's no. There isn't any 3D in Rick and Morty, apart from
there's
maybe...
loads of 3D in Rick and Morty.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing any.
A lot of the CG work, Rick and Morty, was done, I think, in collaboration with the Futurama crew.
Oh, right, yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
I'm not sure. That citation needed, but that's what I heard.
Yeah.
It's all fairly well into...
I didn't really... I'm just playing most of it in my head, really. I can't really think of much... okay. There might have been a few 3D bits, but I don't think it was mostly.
Look up the clip at the end when they're putting Rick in jail.
Oh, okay, maybe, yeah.
You can tell because typically a lot of the regular stuff is done in 12 frames a second, from what I can see.
Yeah.
But then it'll change to 24 frames a second when there's CG elements on the screen.
Oh, right.
This is usually it's usually done in most cartoons because you don't usually need. It's called animating on 1s and 2s. Getting into some technical animation stuff here.
I mean, I have heard the term before, but if you asked me what it was, I wouldn't necessarily know.
So obviously, your average film reel movie runs at 24 frames a second.
I know that much.
You don't usually, yeah, I know. Just starting with basics. Animation, you can animate on every frame in 24, which is called 1s.
Oh, right,
but it's usually not needed, as most of the time it's unnecessary because the eye can't tell the difference half the time.
Yeah.
So usually what people do is they animate on 2s, so every other frame is a different frame. And in shows like The Simpsons and Futurama, they do it on typically 2s, but because of the way you render CGI, because you don't need to worry about about like the amount of effort it takes to render a frame.
Yeah.
Typically, it'll be rendered in 24, but
Right.
it'll be
Yeah.
quite jarring because you'll be able to tell because you can see the characters were moving in 12, and then you can see it jumps up to 24. And you can see this particularly when the Planet Express ship is moving.
Yeah.
Futurama.
Yeah. I think I can sort of remember parts of Futurama where that sort of does happen.
It's quite.
Yeah.
I mean, it's quite a frequent problem. I mean, I don't think it looks very good, but other people might think it looks okay. I mean, yeah, I could just be talking out my ass, but this is from my experience doing animation. This is what I can tell you might be going on, and it happens in Rick and Morty too.
Yeah, I mean, I can't necessarily think of any particular 3D elements in Rick and Morty.
Mostly spaceships,
but probably with spaceships, there might have been a bit when in season 2. It might be the second episode, I think, where they've got the I forget what his fucking name is, but Morty calls him Fart.
Fart.
Yeah, and
Fart Cloud. Yeah.
I think when they were on the Gear planet and there was some explosions and stuff like that. I think that might have been. That's probably the only bit of 3D that I can think of straight away. There might have been a bit of 3D there, but yeah. I always found a Futurama 3D. Now I think about it, they used a lot of it. Like usually,
it was very common.
It was very,
it's a lot.
Especially in Futurama, it was very common, mostly because of the Planet Express ship. Yeah, but they always used a lot.
The team claimed it would be cheaper to render it in 3D than it would be to do it in 2D, which I would agree with.
Yeah,
because it's a lot less calculating like sizes and like angles and things. But in 3D, you just kind of render it.
Yeah.
Set up all the lighting sources. I mean, they use it like you can see they use it quite awfully in the Simpsons Family Guy crossover.
I've only seen that once.
No, when they're walking into Springfield, when they see the sign. The
yeah,
camera,
actually, yeah.
out.
No, I do remember that. Yeah, I remember it now because when I first saw it, I was watching that. When I was watching that scene, I thought it feels like, is this finished? This scene, it feels jittery and not very well made.
It's awful, isn't it?
And the proportions don't seem not the proportions, but like it's weird because they're sort of working with two environments and it doesn't necessarily work because I think because they're turning around and Springfield it gets revealed, but it's like things move not really correctly because they're just working with two different mediums. It's like, okay.
It's really hard to get that sort of thing right. Like, with shows like that, I know they are working for deadlines and shit. There's a lot of things you need to consider when it comes to 2D and 3D. Yeah. Like, I don't know if you've seen, you probably haven't seen these, but they did these really awful live-action fellow parents movies.
Crap, I'm not sure.
Like, so what they did is, the idea is it's Fairly Odd Parents, but 10 years later.
Oh no, I do remember now. Sorry, I had a brain fart.
Aneurysm.
I remember now. I remember the story when they first said, "Oh, we're gonna make Fairly Odd Parents," but Timmy Turner's like, what, in college now? It's like
23, played by Drake Bell.
But yeah, I think I saw a screen cap from it. I was like, stop, just stop.
It's awful because they CG the fairies in, but it's like they're in the original style.
Yeah.
But they're only like half translated into the original style, if you know what I mean. Like certain aspects of the design will be adapted for 3D. Like they'll move a bit more frequently.
Oh, right,
they'll look around and they'll float. But they don't adapt things like the mouths. The mouths are in the same 2D style, so it makes the mouths look fucking huge.
Yeah.
And one problem, which is a problem when translating 2D designs into 3D designs, is the heads are way too big for the bodies, which looks fine in 2D.
Well, yeah,
but in 3D where you've got depth of field, it makes the head look a lot more obvious because it shrinks the body as the camera focuses on it.
Fairly Odd Parents was always a strange style, I always thought, because the heads were always really big. But I mean, that just happens in cartoons usually anyway.
Have you seen the creator of Fairly Odd Parents has his own YouTube channel? Have you seen this?
No, but I think
it's like I don't know. I'm so mixed on it. Sometimes I'll do things and I'll think, yeah, that's kind of cool. But sometimes I'll do things like, because he did a video, drawing the Danny Phantom crew 10 years later, which I thought was cool.
Yeah,
but then he did drawing YouTubers.
Yeah, I remember like, because Danny Phantom and Fairly Odd Parents are pretty much the same drawn style, aren't they? I always thought
pretty similar.
I never actually knew if it was the same like production team or if it was the same person who created it, but I always, as a kid, I thought they're very similar. I don't know.
I don't know what goes on with that guy. Like he's had like, what? I think he's got like 4 or 5 shows going on, but he kind of annoys me because he'll always go for like the laziest route.
Yeah.
I remember like, I don't remember what it was, but he did Fairly Odd Parents, and then midway through Fairly Odd Parents, I think it was like season 3 or 4, he snuck in a pilot for another cartoon, which was like Crash Nebula or something.
Yeah.
Have you not seen this?
I
like an
might
entire
have.
episode about
I
something
might
else.
have seen it. It's been a while since I've watched like Fairly Odd Parents or.
Like what happens is the premise of the episode is like the main character, like Timmy from Fairly Odd Parents, is watching TV. He's watching a Crash Nebula cartoon.
Yeah.
But then it cuts to show you the episode he's watching, and the episode is like this really interestingly like designed pilot for a TV show about superhero schools.
Oh right.
Kind of like Sky High.
Mm.
And it's like it looks a lot more interesting than Fairly Odd Parents, but I think they were developing Danny Phantom at the same time.
Yeah.
And they decided to go with Danny Phantom over this.
Well,
but this had like a vastly different art style.
Yeah, I don't actually know when Sky High was around the same time.
It was around the same time.
I can never remember because it was one of those cartoons where I I heard about it and it was on, but I just never watched it.
Well, Sky High was a movie. It was like a really weird Disney movie that just like wasn't really that interesting at all.
Oh, was it a film? I know I heard it, but I just can't remember what it was. I don't know.
It was dumb.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff on Cartoon Network lately that's just it just seems like they went. Can someone just make an animation? Can we just steal one from YouTube and just make a series? Can we just do that?
Are you talking about Mighty Magiswords?
I might be.
Have you seen? Oh, it's absolutely awful. The art style and animation is like pleb quality.
Yeah.
No. Like the character designs themselves are really nice. I like how flamboyant and like just OTT they kind of look.
Yeah.
But the actual art style they're represented in looks like really like it looks like they pushed the make a cartoon button on their computer. Like, because it's just generic as all hell.
Mm. I mean, I'd hate to like just trash talk all these cartoons without having actually watched any and just say, oh yeah, because it seems to be it looks like shit, it probably is shit. No, just because it looks like it was made within 5 minutes, the entire series, just because it looks like that, it probably isn't. But
the writing is fine, but the actual like designs look like shit. I mean, I haven't watched it. I'm just saying, like what I've seen, I don't like.
I think on YouTube, didn't they have like parts of the I forget what it was called now, the Swords one. Didn't they have clips from it, or maybe not necessarily full episodes, but I'm fairly sure they had like loads of. It might have been a pilot actually that they had. I can't remember, but I remember seeing a few things on YouTube that it was it, and it was a while ago now. It must have been about a year or so.
I think it was created like by someone on DeviantArt. Mighty Magisword.
I can't even remember if I do have a DeviantArt. I think I do. I can't remember.
I haven't looked at my DeviantArt fucking years.
I think most people do have a DeviantArt page, either from because they were in that sort of that sort of stage where they're like, oh, I'm just gonna draw, and then upload it,
yeah.
or if they like saw something on DeviantArt or saw a few things on DeviantArt and thought, oh, I might make an account so I can follow them. Because I think that's probably
terrible, isn't it?
One of those things happened in my instance. It might have been because I was following someone, and I got my avatar, my drawn one that's on my Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and everything, and I got that from a DeviantArt user. I can't remember the name, but it was years ago, and I'm still using it because it's quite a good image.
You're not using my Princess Leia drawing. I'm like severely offended now. Come on. Go on, look at that. That shit's got thighs.
I don't know. I like how we haven't even moved on to any of the main topics we said we were going to talk
No,
about.
I swear, no. So, Switch. I haven't brought one of these. You have. What are your thoughts?
I really like it. I nearly said I don't like it for some reason.
It's the Nintendo brain. It's your
my brain.
It's the Nintendo brain slug saying, "Stuart, no, don't betray me."
My brain held two things I was gonna say. The first one being I like it, and the second one being I can't find any faults with it. Basically, and for some reason I almost said both.
The screen is a lot smaller than I thought it was. I saw one in CX and I was like, "Oh, God, that's tiny."
And let me just go grab it. It's over here. Hang on.
Let me whip it out. Wipe the spunk off the top. Oh no, not again.
I would say the problem with it, because as everyone knows, there's technically 3 modes for it, which is TV, then handheld, and then tabletop. Although handheld and tabletop really are just the same thing. I need to get used to the kickstand, because when I first got it, that was one of the first things I did when I actually got it out of the box. I actually wanted to see what the kickstand was like, because I heard a few people saying it's a bit flimsy or a bit tricky. But when I first did it, I tried to do it just then. When I first did it, it was really tough to actually open, because I think it uses magnets. And if it comes off, you can easily put it back in. So that sense could easily be used somewhere else.
It is like, what, like, oh god, my brain died.
I distracted you too much then.
Loading response. Like, how sturdy does it feel? Because it doesn't look too sturdy to me.
What part? The whole thing, or the controllers, or what?
Just the screen thing. Because I'd be worried I'd break that thing.
I'd say it's fairly sturdy. I mean, it's about because it really is just a tablet with 2 controllers on the side. The actual screen and I suppose you could call it the console, really. It's about a centimeter in thickness. So I mean, it's not like a smartphone. You'd be afraid of dropping it and it would just snap. But I don't know, it is fairly sturdy, I'd say. It doesn't feel cheap.
Because it looks like a large, actually good Game Boy Advance, doesn't it?
Sorry, I'm just turning it on.
I remember I got a PSP, years and years ago, and I don't know if you ever owned a PSP, but they feel really flimsy.
I had played on a PSP. I never owned one, because I didn't... There wasn't much appeal for a PSP for me. I played on one though. I think someone had fucking I'm trying to think what game it was. There was some racing crap, and I just thought this just feels clunky, and it just feels like I'm playing PS1 but on a tiny screen.
It only had an analog, so it was like
the analog was
strange.
Analog? The analog was strange because it was like I don't know. It was. I always found the analog strange because it felt it was really thin, if I remember the actual
yeah, it was ridiculously thin.
It was really thin, and it was it barely came up above the actual surface of the thing. But I don't know. I haven't seen PSPs in ages, so I can't really remember.
They're not really that great. I don't see the PSP. I liked the Vita. The Vita looked cool. I played on one of those for 5 minutes once. But
yeah,
the Vita didn't have any games or something.
I did consider getting one, but and I actually did consider getting one recently, before the Switch actually was announced back in, I think, maybe October time. That's when they sort of had a bigger tease about what it actually looked like and stuff. Around about just before then, I was thinking about getting a PS Vita because I thought, I don't know, they're really cheap now, and I saw ones in exchange for about £99. I thought, yeah, maybe for a few games I was interested in, maybe, but in the end I decided not to. Because after that, the Switch reveal thing came out, and I was like, "Oh, I might get this instead. This looks better." Plus Mario.
Oh god, the Odyssey. They're
I mean,
didn't they do the thing Mario's got individual hairs now? You can see them. They're really hard. They're trying to push the whole graphics thing really hard.
Yeah, but I mean, the same thing happened with Sonic 06, really, when that came out. I think they were trying to push like, oh, next gen, look, Sonic, yeah.
Look how realistic this cartoon is. Like,
look, a Final Fantasy princess.
Clash?
Yeah. I don't know. It was stupid.
That game was the best. Like people think that game's like fun to play. I don't think it is. Are we getting Sonic 06 on the Switch? Because it's confirmed, yeah.
No, we oh fuck, what's it called? Because it was announced the other week. The name for that new Sonic. Because I think we talked about it last time. Sonic Forces. That was it. I don't know that. I don't know. It doesn't. It just looks like Sonic 06 2.
It does. It's like it looks like Shadow the Hedgehog mixed with Sonic 06.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know. I'm still gonna get Sonic Mania on the Switch probably. It's delayed till the summer now, but
yeah.
Oh well. I can kind of wait for that because that looks like a good game.
I don't understand what's going on with this whole Sonic Forces thing because they like. It was weird, like you know how Sonic kind of had that down period for like most of his life.
Yeah.
Then they did the Unleashed style, which was cool. Then they did the same style was in the next 3 games. And then after that, they did Sonic Lost World, which had like a stupid gameplay style.
Well, I think they were doing like the Sonic Boom thing by that point, weren't they?
Yeah.
When it came to Lost Worlds, and now they're going back. Now they're going back to 06 style.
Well, like, they're in like Sonic Generation style. I don't get this. It looks like it's gonna be super edgy and super serious, and that does not work ever.
When you look at the original Sonic game, it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, cutesy graphics, and then suddenly, whoa, fire and shit.
Post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what the fuck? I don't know how many games on the Switch are going to utilize the touch screen, because it is a touch screen, the thing, and when you can use it on the interface, and well, I mean what's it called? You know, the home menu. But I don't think any other games really utilize it because I've been playing Zelda too much. That hasn't got any touchscreen whatevers. You just use the controllers for that. It just seems kind of strange that the touchscreen only works on the home menu and nowhere else.
Yeah, I suppose they realized, hold on, this touchscreen shit's bollocks. Does not do this. Hey kids,
but let's have it installed anyway. Just because,
like, let's drive the price of the Switch up like 6-fold or something.
No, I mean, touchscreens are fairly cheap now anyway.
Yeah.
They must be.
Did you ever play Phantom Hourglass?
Was that one? That was one of the DS ones, wasn't it?
That was the one where you control Link with the stylus and it feels really awkward.
What you mean? You mean like you're on the touchscreen? You're dragging the
Yeah, and you just follow the little fairy.
Rayman on DS had that, and that was really awkward.
Oh yeah, you could like
touchscreen. It was almost like a virtual joystick, but it was like, why the fuck would I do this when there's an actual D-pad there?
Yeah, those never work. I don't understand why they even tried that. Like, I remember, like, have you ever tried doing like emulators on like a phone?
Well, I have an iPhone, so it doesn't really work.
Okay, maybe like one of the Sonic 2 ports they've got. Like, what are the Sonic ports they've got?
Oh yeah, I have tried. Because I had Sonic CD on iPhone at one point, and
yeah, that's the one. You know, like
it's the same with the Grand Theft Auto ports. It's like, yeah, okay, this feels wrong in every way.
Like, I don't want to play this for a long period of time because I feel like if I've got to make like a snap decision, I'm gonna miss.
Exactly, yeah. Because
I played most of. Have you played Metroid Fusion? Metroid Zero Mission.
What platform was that?
That was a Game Boy game. It was like a remake of the original or something.
I don't know.
Like, remastered.
I've only played a few Metroid games.
But the point was, I played the entire thing on like a non-tactile surface, so like the buttons were all on the screen. And I managed to finish most of the game playing like this. But the final boss requires so much precision, you can't because there's so much to do.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I don't know.
I never finished it. I think my phone like just died.
I can't handle this.
I can't play Metroid Fusion.
Jesus.
No. I don't see the point in like screen joysticks. They don't look good. They don't feel good. You can't play with them. Don't.
Yeah. I mean,
because
sorry,
making a move. No one wants to fire first.
I was just gonna say about the because I think a lot of people were wary about the joysticks on the Switch control on the Joy-Cons. Because, well, I mean, for two reasons. Because the Joy-Cons are quite small. I mean, shit, how... I mean, that's like... It's like 2/3 of the height of an iPhone. It's quite small, but when you actually hold it, it's actually not that bad. Although I would say the joystick is fairly central on one of them, and that's quite annoying. You have to reach over with the left hand, but I don't know. But when I actually got the Switch and I was getting out of the box and setting it up, I was really wary about taking the Joy-Cons in and out of the actual main console, because you're basically just sliding them in and just yanking them out.
Well, people saying that if you get them in the wrong slots, they lock up or something.
I think it's really difficult to actually get it in the wrong way. Oh, okay, you might be able to get it in the wrong way round, but if really if you put them when you're putting it into the actual console, it's quite easy because you can't really put them in the wrong way, otherwise the touchscreen will be on the other side, and logically you just wouldn't do that.
Yeah, that's what you mean. I don't understand how you do it either, but
there's the straps that go on when you take the Joy-Cons out of the actual screen, and then you can put like another sort of a bit of plastic on it which has a wristband, and I think that's usually what people use for like some of the motion stuff. That you can easily get wrong.
How many games does the Switch have at the moment?
I'm just
Isn't it like just two? It's like 1, 2, 3 Switch and Zelda.
I think those are like the main ones, but there's also Bomberman. There's and there's some more on the store, and there's some that came out. I think because I think what Nintendo are doing is they're sort of having sort of like a with indie games at least. I think they're bringing out like 2 or 3 every like weekend or something. Because there was a few that came out last weekend. I think there's some due this weekend. I don't know about main releases though. Mario Kart comes out April 28th. And I'm mostly looking. The ones I'm mostly looking forward to are Mario Kart and Mario Odyssey.
Have we? What are the updated features they're putting in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe?
I don't know. I think it's it's sort of like, at first you have to think of it as like a Mario Kart 8 Special Edition where they have like all the DLC that's been previously released, and I think they're doing like enhanced battle mode or some other crap.
Does this mean we could potentially be getting even more characters in this then?
I think there are some new characters, or there
I know
are
I've
some
seen
characters. King Boo was the one that I mostly remember, but I think there's like 2 or 3 or 4 other ones that they're adding. We need Pac-Man in Mario Kart. He was in the arcade version and then he just disappeared.
Yeah, I always found that weird. Why was there never like a home console version of all that?
I don't know. Because I played the arcade version a couple of years ago actually, and that was really fun. Weirdly, I just thought, I don't know if this is actually licensed, but I think it must have been. The thing was, I thought it was bootleg because the art that they had on like the actual like outer casing of the actual cabinet, Luigi's colours were wrong, and I was like, hello, is someone going to explain this or what? I don't know.
Quality control, please.
Yeah, it was strange.
I think the game's actually made by like Namco or Capcom.
I think it must be because they do a lot of arcade stuff. The same with Sega.
Do you reckon there's going to be like a new wave of arcades now that virtual reality's become a thing?
What you mean, like virtual arcades?
Yeah, we're going to start seeing this.
Yeah, because I mean, there are things on Steam that basically do that.
Like, but I could see like this being like the true use of virtual reality because it's like
it would be. I think at some point in the future that is going to be what's going to happen. People are going to be sitting in their rooms in the darkness with a VR headset on, talking to other people who are sitting in their room in the darkness with their VR headsets on in a virtual arcade like environment. That is what's going to happen.
I meant like Playing games on the virtual reality, not going on the virtual reality to play the arcade.
To be fair though, my point still is going to happen anyway. But
I mean, yeah, they
they
will
are
happen probably.
they're going to have
you don't
VR
play
in
the
arcades
lady.
as well, especially when headsets become easier to manufacture and produce on a large scale. I mean, they have virtual reality roller coasters. So I mean,
God,
all that is.
I think I tried one of those. I've tried one of those virtual reality.
I mean
like,
an actual roller coaster that that have VR headsets like inbuilt.
oh, why?
But,
Why
I
would
mean,
you do this?
I mean, okay, at least then it does alleviate the motion sickness thing, because that has been a problem with VR headsets, because your eyes are getting information that you're moving all around, but your body's telling you no, you're just sitting still in this chair. You're not actually moving, and then your brain just goes, but
I can't. I have lost the ability to can.
well, that is what happens. People got motion sick because of it, and I don't know.
I mean, it sounds like it's a lot. It just has a good way to make like a really boring roller coaster kind of interesting, because they can make all the surroundings look really interesting.
That is what they're doing. That is what they're doing, because the only one I can think of, I think, is like Alton Towers, which is in the UK for people who aren't in the UK who don't know where Alton Towers is. And I think theirs is like, oh yeah, if you the VR headsets make it looks like you're in space. It's like, okay.
Wait, but I can feel wind against my face. How am I in space?
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know.
There we go. Busted. Myth busted.
Yeah.
Done. Gonna close it down all the towers.
Yeah.
God damn, imagine that.
Oh dear.
I do all of roller coasters. How are you with roller coasters?
I don't think I could do roller coasters. I haven't actually been on one, but I had for the longest time been afraid of heights, so I think that's kind of what put me off at first. But it would probably be I have gotten sick rather easily on like I wouldn't say intense rides, but you know, things where you're moving around too much for normal living. It's like, okay, my brain can't deal with this. Hang on.
See, these are the perks of not having depth perception. You're not afraid of heights because you can't see heights.
I think some people did think that Nintendo were going to have some VR headset for the Switch at some point, but I don't really think, I don't know how that would be possible. I mean, there's like no expansion ports that they usually have on Nintendo consoles.
It's the Nintendo waifu simulator.
I mean, it would have to plug in with the USB-C on the bottom, but apart from that, that's like the only place it could be plugged in if it had a VR headset. But I don't know. I don't think they're going to do that. Don't think there are any plans anyway.
That sounds Nintendo. They don't like to acknowledge their trends, so I don't think they'd do it.
They did have the Virtual Boy though. Remember, years and years ago. Between
I'm not doing it.
I think it was between the Super Nintendo and the N64. I think it was like just before the N64.
I remember when I first found out about the Virtual Boy, it was like through Smash Bros.
Mm. Oh
so
yeah,
I was like, what even is this?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it didn't really help that the games were just red, like in color and wireframe. It's like, okay, yeah, this hurts my eyes immediately. Like I don't even need I don't even need the advice to take breaks every half an hour. I'm gonna take this off like in a 30 seconds.
I'm gonna do it on my own.
Yeah.
God damn. Jeez, I probably couldn't even have played that because it doesn't sound like something I could have even seen. But it's like, what made them think this is a good idea? Oh, let's have it only in one color. Brilliant idea, Greg. You get a promotion.
Well, technically two colors, black and red, but
excuse me,
because everything was black and then there was just this red stuff. And no, I mean there are emulators and that makes it a lot easier to play it on PC. But and you can just use those like red and blue glasses to see the 3D instead, which might actually just be easier on the eyes because you're not just looking at the screen up close.
That would be weird. Jeez.
I don't know.
Like, without depth perception, you can't see 3D movies either.
Yeah,
so my
I
cinema
imagine.
experiences are very boring. It's just a very blurry movie to me. What's
Yeah.
going on? Did you ever use Xbox Live? Were you an Xbox guy?
I just still have my Xbox 360. Yeah, I
Oh,
remember.
God.
Fuck, I remember the original dashboard, like
jeez,
from like 2006, and it looked really shit.
The Xbox always looked kind of shit though.
Yeah.
I can't remember really having that much fun with the Xbox. 'Cause I remember I didn't really like the console. That was a bit rubbish.
I don't know.
They moved on.
These days, I did for a while think about getting an Xbox One, and I think we've just moved on to this topic without really discussing any sort of link between this and the Nintendo Switch. I don't even know what we were talking about before.
We're really bad at keeping on topics. That's one thing I've noticed. We just jump from one topic to the next so quickly.
Yeah. Well, I might as well just continue this point.
Go on.
To be fair, I don't think we've got long left before we fill up that hour anyway.
Then people will stop tuning in.
Yeah, pretty much. So, I don't know, just a few more, like 10 more minutes, I guess. What was I saying?
I think you were talking about the 3DS and like depth perception.
No, I mean about the Xbox.
I think you just talked about how ugly the dashboard was.
I can't remember now. Great.
Rip topic!
No, I'll think of it in a second. Shit. I need to write stuff down instead. But yeah, the dashboard did look crap. It was like, oh, why this? Why is it orange? I think orange was like one of the primary colours of the Xbox dashboard, and green, lime green. Like, I don't even understand how that's a good design choice. Highlighter colours, just oh.
Did you have the console since launch, or did you?
Not since launch. I think I got it in like 2008 or like 2010 or something.
I got mine in 2010, but I brought it like off someone my mum knew, so I paid like 80 quid for it. And like the guy had like data on it from like loads of other games, but I deleted it all. And then I was hoping he had Red Dead data on that. I wish I just played from the point of where he played on Red Dead.
Yeah.
Because the start of Red Dead's fucking boring.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Red Dead was I played it for a while and I got bored and just stopped. So I don't even know where I am in the story. I'm probably like, I don't know, 20% through it or something. But yeah, I've technically had two Xboxes. The first one was sort of like me and my brother shared it. And at some point along the line he got it chipped so he could play. I probably shouldn't be saying this, but he got it chipped so he could play copied games. Yeah. And then because of eventually that Xbox got banned. And I sort of went through a period of, I wasn't sure if it meant that my account was banned or because I had a lot of achievement gamer score points back then when I actually gave a shit.
Did anyone
when
ever
I was
take
younger.
that seriously?
I don't. People might have done. I think I remember at one point someone was boasting that they got like 20,000. I was like, so? And this, so what? Who cares? But yeah, I don't think people take it seriously anymore. It's just a sort of way of saying how many games you've got. Instead of just saying, I have 70 games, it's like, oh, I have a gamer score potential of 160,000. It's like, oh, what?
Oh, gamer score potential. Oh, how noble of you.
Yeah. It basically means if they got every achievement in every game, and that's like never going to happen.
Oh, what was the point of that?
I don't know.
I never, like, achievements are always like this kind of cool side thing, but you never take achievements seriously because like what would be the point? Achievements
aren't really I don't get the point of it, but like I'd say gamer score is really just a sort of redundant as a thing, because what does it do apart from shows how much of your games you've completed, or not necessarily completed, but like. Because there could be a ton of there's like games that have like 20 achievements in like the first level, each one of them because you picked up a fucking new item or something.
You jumped for the first time.
Yeah, it is like, yeah, you just get achievements for like basic controls. I mean, like in Minecraft, you get an achievement just for opening the inventory. And I think on the Xbox version, they still have that as the achievements. It's like, what the fuck is the point? It's just racking up your gamer score without doing much effort. But I don't know. Who cares?
I remember, like, have you ever like tried to get all the achievements in one game?
I think I probably have got a few games where I have got all the achievements, but I think there's probably games which I thought after I completed it and I didn't get all the achievements, I probably thought, oh, I might look up how to get them, and I just never did because it was pointless. I completed the game. Who cares?
Yeah, like
just because you don't get the secret achievements from like discovering a new area. Or like getting a hidden cutscene. It's like, oh god, do I care?
I remember I used to have this thing. I wanted to complete Kingdom Hearts on like the hardest difficulty.
Yeah.
So you could unlock like the secret cutscene for the next game.
Yeah.
That was always so bad. Like it was cool seeing them put like a cutscene in for the next game, but the things like they started getting really cheeky in the end.
Yeah.
Because like they just make game upon game upon game, like extending the story. But what I noticed with a lot of the later games was they were a lot less plot heavy.
Yeah.
Like the first few games have like loads of plot, and then they start being like, oh, there's a little bit of plot every time you go to a different world. But it's like you could have ended this story ages ago. Why did you need to make 50 games? Like I think we were talking about this the other day. There's like they did like 1.5 remix, 2.5 remix, now like 2.5.8 remix.
2.5.8?
I think it's either 2.8 or 2.5.8.
I think it's 2.8. It must be. Yeah.
I don't trust them. But I believe they would have gone all the way.
I think they've only recently just released a PS4 version, which is 1.5. No, 1. Wait, hang on. No, 1.5 and 2.5 all together. But it's got extra stuff as well. It's got included like another, like a fucking one of the mobile games or something. It's like, why can't you just stop and just make the third one and just die? No.
Did you see the trailer for the third one? It was like
it was years ago now. It was years ago now. I almost completely forgotten that they announced that there was a third one. I mean,
it's like the trailer. I think the Kingdom Hearts reveal trailer was something like, it was like two characters playing chess or something. Yeah, but it's like the younger versions of characters we know are already dead canonically.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's even the point in showing us this? We know everything about these guys. Like, I've always realized this is kind of a thing they do in this game. They pull shit out of nowhere, then like, oh, we'll explain it in the next game. See ya, lads.
Yeah.
What was the first Kingdom Hearts game you played?
It would be Kingdom Hearts, the first one.
Really? I played them in a stupid order.
I mean, I technically, most people probably played the first one first, even though now technically it isn't the one in like actual canonical order, like story, actual like story wise. Because I think what is it, like Birth by Sleep is the first one technically. Or like
canonically, yes.
Yeah, I can't remember. It's like one of the DS ones.
It goes stupid. It's like Birth by it used to be really simple, but then it started getting like stupidly complex.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of the thing with Kingdom Hearts. The story itself isn't complex, but the order the games go in is.
Yeah, it's like I'm going back to Zelda now. It's like the Zelda timeline with their games. Because I might have actually
Zelda having a timeline.
I'm not actually sure if I actually said this to you before, but like because the Zelda timeline, it doesn't start with Zelda 1. It doesn't start with the first one on NES. It starts with like fucking whatever the Skyward Sword. Yeah. And then
it splits into like 3 different timelines.
It splits into 3 different ones using Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. Because if it's Ocarina of Time, it can go into 2 different ways, whether you win or you lose. And if you lose, it goes to Majora's Mask. And then I think that splits again, depending on whether you win or lose.
No,
it's like,
I think
fuck?
I think there was the Adult Link timeline.
Oh, the adult. That was it. Yeah, that was it.
I think the idea is the Adult Link timeline is the one where.
Oh yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was.
It's if you go back. It's when you finish Ocarina of Time, whether you go back to being a kid or stay as an adult. That's where it splits, I think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And if you go back if you go back as a kid, then it's Majora's Mask. I think I can't remember. I'd have to look it up.
I think the point is like when he like beats Ganon at the end.
Yeah.
Like, because I don't, it's not very clear, but I think like Rick and Morty's it out and splits it into three universes.
Yeah.
So there's the universe
There's
like at the start of the game,
yeah.
where he pulls it out for the first time. Then there's the one he puts it back, and then there's the one he beats Ganon. So there's three different universes here.
Hmm.
So
It's,
one universe he just kind of fucks off.
I
And the
I
other two,
I think one of the problems that happen with games where they have, especially with Zelda, but it does happen with other games as well, where they Mario as well, I think, where where it's like, yeah, okay, we're acknowledging things that might have happened before in previous games, maybe, and maybe it has influenced future games or games that are further down the timeline, and the character is the same despite the fact that a lot of time might have passed or not. There's always a lot of retconning that happens.
I like
It's
their
like
older definition better, to be honest.
what?
I like their older definition of timelines. Just there is no
Yeah.
timeline. Shut up, fans. It's like, yeah, I like that better.
I mean,
just
it's at this point, I'm not even sure whether or not it's easier to just say there is no timeline. These are just games. Shut the fuck up, or just say, okay, whatever. This is what happens. Link is always alive. He's eternal, and so is Zelda and Ganon. Who cares? Fuck off. I don't know. It's stupid.
It doesn't need to have a timeline, though.
I don't think it doesn't. I don't think it doesn't need a time. No, I don't think it does need a time. I'm messing up my words today. It doesn't. It doesn't necessarily need a timeline because for the most part, it doesn't affect any of the other games.
I think they tried adding the timeline in with Skyward Sword first, because there's the shit at the end where it's like, oh, I curse you to relive this over and over again.
Skyward Sword is when I think they actually sort of definitely said, this is what all the games are in order and what timeline they go into from here.
Miyamoto was like, oh, I'm sick of this shit.
I don't know where Breath of the Wild comes in on that timeline though.
Because they've finally given up. They've realised, oh, this is pointless. I'm not even bothered.
I think really especially with Breath of the Wild, there doesn't necessarily need to be a timeline because it has its own history. Because Link, this is the basic story, so I'm not really spoiling it, but Link wakes up after 100 years of being asleep, and he's the same age. I don't get that, but magic. And but 100 years ago is when he was trying to fight Ganon or defeat him with Zelda, but shit went wrong, so he went into 100 years sleep because he nearly died. But shit happened 10,000 years ago that they mentioned. So it's like, okay, the timeline doesn't really apply here because it sort of has its own in-game timeline. But yeah, Link doesn't age in those 100 years, but he isn't eternal. Like I don't think he existed the 10,000 years ago. That's just like the history that they're talking about in that game, but it doesn't affect everything else that's happened in the Zelda timeline. It's strange.
Can I talk about how much I hate the new Zelda design?
What do you mean the new Zelda design?
Like the new Zelda, like what she looks like in Breath of the Wild.
I did think she looked a bit odd, really.
She looks like just some girl now. It's like you don't look like any like warrior. Any princess.
I think she's supposed to be 17. That is the only age that's actually mentioned. I don't know what it is, but yeah, okay. Breath of the Wild is probably one of the best Zelda games, if not the best Zelda game. I'm not sure whether or not it is. I'm still trying to decide between that and Link to the Past. And Ocarina of Time as well. Those are like my three that I can't distinguish between now.
Stuart's top 10 Zelda games. Number 1.
No, I can't.
Zelda CDI.
Oh, Jesus Christ, no. That's number 5. No, but no, I don't know. But with Breath of the Wild, it's strange because while it is a good game, everyone seems to be attaching themselves to one of the Zora Prince Sidon or whatever the fuck his name is.
Oh, is he the ship character?
Yeah, he. It's weird because usually if there's any ship in a Zelda game, it's between Link and Zelda because they're the two main characters, and that's just what usually happens because I think in some games there is some sort of hint that there's some interest on one side, or
They
it's
ship them
not
in some
said.
games harder than other.
Yeah, but with this, it's sort of like there isn't any hint really that Zelda has any feelings necessarily towards Link, but there's a Zora princess that died 100 years ago that had feelings for Link when they were both alive.
Yeah.
So that's, I guess, probably one relationship they hinted at. But all the fans are shipping Link with the Prince Sidon for no other reason. For really no other reason other than people are saying he's incredibly handsome and he's very supportive of Link. Because literally the first time you meet him, he's like, "I believe in you, Link." It's like, okay,
literally his husband.
Who is this man with big teeth? He's a shark, really. Have you seen? I don't know if you've.
I just imagine the guy from Mass Effect, big shark-like people. I just imagine one of those. Hello, Link.
The Zora in Zelda games have always looked meh. But
the designs always change. I think the
design hasn't changed that much, but
it has. In Link to the Past, they're like these weird goat. They're basically like water Gorons.
Yeah.
But then in Ocarina of Time, they turn them into these lovely sea people.
Yeah.
Who all have like chiseled abs or like amazingly toned bodies.
Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah. Now that you say that, the ones in Breath of the Wild, they're very similar to Ocarina of Time ones, but they do look a lot better, and their heads are actually a shark.
The shark heads.
No, really. If you look at their designs for Breath of the Wild, it is just a shark. It's just a mini shark on their head. It's just a neck and then the shark. It really is. But I don't know. I like the new design of the Zora. I was like, this is actually one of the times where it actually looks good, because the ones from Ocarina of Time looked a bit plain. It's sort of like it's just sort of like a fish grew legs.
That is quite bizarre. I'm trying to look for these. Oh god!
Just type Prince Sidon. I like how this is part of the podcast. Just this sort of
gay shipping.
This sort of in between moment where it's like, yeah, we're just waiting for Leroy to Google something, and then we can actually continue. You found it, yeah?
Absolutely. How do you spell Sidon?
Sidon.
Sidon. Yeah, I've got that. Oh god.
Oh, I probably should have realised. You might want to say search off.
That's not safe for work content. Oh god.
Don't type Prince Sidon into Tumblr.
Oh god, I'm trying to find pictures of him. I'm trying to find a decent one, like
one that isn't drawn. One that isn't drawn.
I'm failing to find any drawn ones. I think Safe Search is turned on. Oh, I see him now. Well, he doesn't look like the guy from Mass Effect, doesn't he? He's got like literally a shark head.
It is just a shark on a neck.
That's weird. I like how alien it is. I like the idea of combining like the really alien feel of like just this shark man with just a regular gay lover. So he's just like there in an apron making him pancakes.
It's really strange how like out of everything I expected from a new Zelda game, the thing I did not expect was the strongest ship to be between Link and a shark man. That is the thing I did not expect at all, and yet it's happened. It's like,
I don't know.
okay.
I mean, this is a very internet thing. They kind of find weird ships and just like make like demand they be canon.
Yeah, it's weird. It's not weird, but it's weird how the internet does that. It's weird how like as soon as something that's popular sort of arrives now, there's like one character which the internet goes, oh my god, I love them, and they just put them up on a pedestal and say this person is going to be shipped with everyone.
This is the best gay character. I'm making them gay because I want to be cool. That's it. That's how this works. The internet loves their fascination with gay people.
Well, I mean, the ship. Well, I mean, the love that people have for Prince Sidon has even been mentioned on TV. This is how weird it's getting. It's been made fun of on TV.
I like to think it's like mentioned in like Fox News, like they're talking about kids having a sexual obsession with like a big shark man.
Yeah, and some of the Fox News contributors are like, we gotta censor this shit.
Censor this degeneracy.
And everyone else is just like, it's fictional. It's not like they're actually going to go out and fuck a fish. I mean, as much as I like the internet, I suppose that's one of the things that's a side effect. It's just there's the endless amount of people who have egg avatars on Twitter who just like to bitch and moan about everything and just debate everything. I think we've got enough content for this podcast.